Hello and welcome to TechFunnel.com's interview series for Women's History Month. My name is Danny White, and today we have joining us Ahava Leibtag. Ahava Leibtag has more than 20 years of experience in writing, messaging, and marketing. She is a well-recognized content expert and writes thought leadership about content strategy and content marketing. Ahava is the president and owner of AHA Media Group, a content strategy and content marketing consultancy. She is the author of The Digital Crown, Winning at Content on the Web. Welcome, Ahava. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, Danny.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, and how you entered the whole world of marketing and writing.
Sure. So I was a voracious reader as a kid, and I knew that I wanted to be a writer, but my parents told me not to go into that because they said there was no money in it.
Yeah.
But I didn't listen to them, of course, like all children. Mm-hmm. And in college, I majored in English communications because I figured I would take my love for writing and I would go into advertising or PR, one of the glamour industries as they were called back then.
Right.
And then I took a journalism class in college and I just loved it. So I thought maybe I'll become a journalist. And so I wrote, I lived in Israel for a while and I wrote for a paper there. Mm-hmm. And then I came back to America and I worked in advertising for a little bit and corporate communications for a little bit. Then I got a master's degree at Georgetown. Fun fact about me, I wrote my master's thesis on Dirty Dancing and Save the Last Dance.
Oh, awesome.
So I'm always good for a good party. And then I worked for the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, mm-hmm. known by the unfortunate acronym FERC. Mm-hmm. And so basically what happened to me was that as I was leaving graduate school, Web 2.0 was really starting to take hold, and people were really starting to talk about the web as really a place that could really become an extraordinary marketplace. And so absolutely. I learned UX and web writing in that government job, and then I got a phone call. Somebody needed a freelancer, and I started writing healthcare content, and the rest is history. So just sort of started from a passion, which is something I always talk about with people. Mm-hmm. We interview a lot of writers and editors here at AHA Media Group. And the number one question I always ask people is, what are you reading? Because if you're not reading something, you're not a writer or editor. It's just
absolutely
not fun. So that's really how I got started. I got started because it was something that I loved and I really wanted to do.
That's cool. So in what ways do you think content marketing has changed over the last decade?
So has it been around for that long? Wow. So I think that, it was advertising and PR. Brands were not really able to listen to consumers the same way that they can now. And the competition wasn't, I think, as extraordinary. People had way more brand loyalty. And so I think what content marketing has done is it's positioned the brand as a friend. It's positioned the brand as a trusted advisor. Mm-hmm. It allowed people to find information that they need quickly and make decisions, I think, with feeling more empowered. So the way I see it have changing over the past 10 years is that I definitely think that there's more of a focus on the results. What's the mm-hmm. ROI? I think that people are thinking more about the technology that can support it. What does the marketing tech stack look like? Mm-hmm. I think there seems to be more creativity and less creativity. Those things always seem to be in sort of butting heads. It's like, well, we have to think about ROI. We have to be careful. Mm-hmm. In the beginning, it was sort of more, let's just try anything. And now it's sort of more regimented form of marketing. But I think that there's still people doing extraordinary work. And then I also think as search has evolved, the industry has had no choice but to evolve. So those are some of the evolutions that I've seen, both good and bad.
Cool. So if you were just getting started in this whole content marketing industry, is there one or two things that you would do differently as opposed to when you started?
I would try to get to know the thought leaders a lot better. Mm-hmm. I was introduced to those people at the first Content Marketing World, and I don't think I took advantage of those relationships enough. So mm-hmm. I think if you can find people that you're interested in following and that are writing compelling content for you, mm-hmm. you should be following them on Twitter and Instagram if they're on Instagram, and you should be communicating with them and looking at their posts on LinkedIn and liking what they're saying, commenting on it. That's mm-hmm. the thing that I think. I think getting a teacher or finding teachers that can really help grow your own skills and knowledge and viewpoint. What else would I do differently? I think I would spend more time learning analytics, understanding that part of it is a really critical part of being good at it. Not that, so I don't have that kind of, I mean, I do. I have a very analytical brain, but like math or data, like those kind of things, I can pay attention for 3 minutes.
Right. Yeah. Same way.
Right, exactly. So I'm a words person, obviously, right? That's where I found my creativity and my passion. But I think understanding the analysis and understanding what's important, what's not important, separating the signal from the noise, so to speak. I think that's something that I would tell people, get to know more about that end than you think you have to.
Good. Spend some time in those numbers.
Exactly. And understanding what those numbers really are telling you, what narrative, because numbers tell a story the same way. It's just you have to understand the numbers and the story they're telling you.
Absolutely. So what would you say is the number one key to success in the content marketing industry? I know we kind of ask this question or think about this question a lot, or even just Google like how to be successful in the content marketing world. But what would you say is the number one thing that you've got to have?
Curiosity. You have to be curious. I think that's I say that about anybody in content, in writing, in content strategy, in content marketing. I think you have to be interested in the way the world works and the way that people work, the way they interact with each other, the way they respond to things. So that to me is the number one thing you need. And I think that curiosity leads itself to learning about, reading a lot of different things that will affect what you will think about content marketing. So, I read a varied selection of books all year long, or articles or things like that, because the more exposure I get to the world and the way that other people think, the better I'm going to be as a content marketer. So
absolutely. Cool. So you've worked for some very impressive companies in your past. So what led you to kind of start your own consulting firm?
So I was working for the government, and I did not do well in that job. I do not have the personality for a government job, federal government job.
Right.
And I had a friend who had left that agency to go to a hospital, and she had a freelance writer walk out on the job, and she called me up and she's like, I need you to come save me, basically. So I I figured I'll do one project for her and that'll be it. It'll be a way to earn some extra money while I'm on maternity leave.
Right.
And then what ended up happening was that I was good at it. I sat there, I remember sitting there at a conference table, and I was like, this is what I should be doing. I should be helping people figure this stuff out. So then she gave me another project, and then that led to a gig with Johns Hopkins Hospital, or medicine, they call it, which, is an extraordinary, one of the best hospitals.
Absolutely. Yeah. One of the top.
So that was, a great training ground for the beginning. And then, the company just grew. People know, you start getting a lot of work, and then you're like, okay, well, I can't say no to the work, so I better hire people to help me do the work. And before you're worrying about employee benefits.
Yeah. So creating your own business, obviously a lot of willpower, a lot of work, a lot of time, money, energy, resources, just a lot of everything goes into that. What are some of the things that keep you going when things in your business get tough, or even people in your business get tough? How do you keep going?
Well, there's two things. So the first thing is that I have had very difficult illnesses in my life. And so for me, the original passion for healthcare and helping people feel empowered to make the most important decisions of their lives, I think about that almost on a daily basis, because as content writers in that field, we have a tremendous amount of responsibility to the people that we're talking to.
Right.
So that passion fuels me, that idea that we are really helping people because we're giving them content that helps them make great decisions. And then the second thing that keeps me going is employing people. I think I have a tremendous amount of gratitude every day that I'm able to give people work that's meaningful to them. I like to look at Basecamp and see all the different communications that fly past all day long. And I can't believe it. 10 years ago, I was sitting here in my office, working by myself. And now there's 40 people, constantly talking to each other every day. And so I think that part of it is exciting. And, it makes me feel good. I also, my head hits the pillow at night and I think okay, I have to make payroll again next week. How do I always have to make payroll? Like kids, why do I always have to feed them? They're always hungry. Yeah. So that part of it can definitely, drag you down. And I think if I were giving advice, if I were experience sharing with somebody, I think what I would say to them is you have to make friends with that part of running a business. It can't all be, exciting and make you feel great about yourself. You have to make friends with that part of it that's just sort of a drag, just like everybody does in their job. It's
absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, everybody has that where they have to do stuff they don't want to do. So.
Absolutely. So what's the best advice you've ever received in your career?
Oh, man. It sounds so trite, but it's be who you are. Mm-hmm. Joe Pulizzi once asked me to come speak somewhere, and he was going to put me on a panel, and I really didn't want to be on a panel. Like, I wanted my own, I was like still immature.
Stage, yeah.
I wanted my own stage. I was like, and so I jumped on the phone with him, and I was like, listen, this is how I feel. And, he wrote me an email. I had it on my bulletin board for like years and years. And he basically was like, I just like you so much because you tell the truth and you're so refreshing. And there's so much BS in this business. It's so great to deal with somebody who just is a straight shooter.
Yeah.
And so I think for me, like that's what I would tell people is like, there are a lot of people who might say like, I'm too assertive or I'm too out there, or I'm too loud or I'm too outspoken. But the people who really love that, are big fans and feel supportive and have been, incredible people in my life. So,
absolutely.
And then the other piece of advice that I would give people is make friends with your clients.
Okay.
Get to know them as people, hang out with them, because business is built on relationships. Mm-hmm. And when you have good relationships with your clients, you do better work. It's just the way that it is.
Absolutely incredible. Thank you so much, Ahava, for your time. This was fun, and it's always good to talk to other content marketers and other writers in the industry. We really appreciate your time today. Guys, thanks for listening to this interview. For these and other interviews and topics, please visit techfunnel.com. You can connect with us on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram, and subscribe to our weekly newsletter so you can stay up to date on what's happening in the industry. Thank you.